Hey drummers, it's Rob Litton here from drumstheword.com. Welcome to this mini free song lesson. This is the last little festive treat I've got for you before breaking up for Xmas. Perhaps not the most Christmassy song in the world, but it was requested over on my Facebook page as part of this month of December where I'm asking for your song suggestions for free lessons. But I'll continue over into a little bit of January, I think also, where I'll give you a few free more lessons, a few more free lessons next month. But today I want to show you the main drum beat and the band stabs from the song Unbelievable by EMF, drummed by, and I'm never going to pronounce this properly, I don't even know how to pronounce it, Mark Decloedt, D-E-C-L-O-E-D-T. Your guess is as good as mine. And I've got the free PDF for you to download with this lesson. Have this printed out in front of you as we go through this lesson together. You'll find a link to this page beneath this video. And like I said, I've got the actual drum beat. I've got a simplified version of it, so a new beginner drummer can have a go at this song as well. And also there's some band stabs in there, which I thought would be fun to include, the sort of how you might incorporate live drums over electronic drums, because the first thing I've written here is note these drums were sampled and a tambourine can be heard playing 16ths. So with a lot of this dance music, there's usually like one bar of drum beat that's been sampled and it's just looped, or in this case there's like individual parts of the instruments that have been sampled and then put together and a drum beat has been constructed. We can hear the drum beat he's playing, but there's all kinds of other effects being put over the top. And when we get to the band stabs that first occur at 33 seconds into the song, you'll hear that there's drums being put over the top of the drum beat we've already been playing. So this is my interpretation of how you could play it live. Watching a brief video of them perform on Top of the Pops back in the day, this is what Mark was playing as well. So let's start off with the simplified version of the drum beat, and then we can go to the actual version. So if we take a look at the second bar on my page, on my notation, we've got a very, very simple bar really. Ignore the open hi-hats at the moment on the and of 3 and the and of 4, and we get this basic drum beat. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Pretty simple so far. Let's open the hi-hats on the and of 3, which falls down with that bass drum, and then closes on 4 with the snare drum, and then the and of 4, which opens on its own, but then closes with the bass drum on beat 1. So for you new drummers, you've got two open hi-hats there in a row, but they both feel very different because one opens with a bass drum and closes with a snare drum. One opens on its own and closes with the bass drum. So they should feel very different to each other. So a great little exercise for you beginner drummers to get used to opening your hi-hats in different places of the bar. But if we take it slowly, we've got this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 3 and 4 and 1 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So it doesn't sound like the song at all really, but that's the basic rhythm there. We've got bass drums on the and of 2, the and of 3, and those distinctive open hi-hat notes occurring on the and of 3 and the and of 4. So have that basic beat down, have it practiced, have it feeling comfortable, and then when we go on to the actual version next, it shouldn't feel too crazy because you've already worked on some of that independence. So let's take a look at the actual drum beat now, and this is where it sort of gets a little more fun for you intermediate, more advanced drummers. The first thing in the bar is we've got an extra bass drum falling on the of beat 1. That falls in between the hi-hats on the and of 1 and 2, and that gives us a little push into the snare drum. 1, 2, and the bass drum falls on the and of 2 like in our simplified version. 1, 2, and then the next part of the bar, we've got two bass drums in a row falling on the E of 3 and the and of 3. Again, following that simplified version, the and of 3's there, but we have a little push note pushing into the and of 3 on the E of 3. So two bass drum notes falling on the E of 3 in between the hi-hats and then falling with the open hi-hat on the and of 3. So 3 E and, 3 E and then closing with the snare drum on 4. 3 E and 4. 3 E and 4. And now for the last part of the bar, we get 4 and a 1. So the and open hi-hat there on the and of 4, but we've got a snare drum falling in between those hi-hat notes while the hi-hat is still ringing out, and 1 where it closes with the bass drum on the next time you loop it round. And and a 1. It's a little bit weird there because we've got open hi-hats, we've got bass drums falling in interesting places, and in between those open hi-hats we've got extra notes falling. By the way, sometimes that snare drum at the end of the bar is played as a ghost note, slightly quieter than the snare drum on 2 and 4, but then there's a break in the middle of the song, near the end of the song, where the acoustic drums come forward and you can hear him play that last note as loud as beat 2 and 4. So let me just play around a few times, I'll show you some of the dynamic options. First of all, the actual drum beat slowly. 1, a 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. A 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. Even slower. 1, and a 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. 1, a 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. A 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. A 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. A 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. A 2, and 3, and 4, and a 1. And I was talking about the dynamics a second ago, is that you could, to make it sound exactly like a recording, make that last snare drum on the of 4, play it a little bit quieter as a ghost note, a little tap. That's what you hear on the recording more, but like I said, in the middle of the song there's this break where all of a sudden that last snare drum note becomes louder again. Okay, let's hear what that drum beat sounds played up to speed without the microphone on so you can hear just the drums. So play it around a few times, then I'll play the band stabs at the end and we'll talk about that next. Here we go. So then finally there's these stabs that occur throughout the song, and the first one occurs at 33 seconds. And this is an example, as I said at the beginning of this video, is where you can hear the original drum beat being played in the background. Well, the open hi-hats, which are probably sampled, you can hear them being played, and over the top of that we've got these extra snare drum, bass drum notes being played. So this is really what you're hearing on the recording, but it's a combination of two different parts put together. So I thought that'd be fun to sort of show you how I would interpret those stabs and still maintain that open hi-hat on the and of 3 and the and of 4, just to make sure you don't lose anything going into the new section. It's kind of a cool challenge. So without the open hi-hats, we've got the first bar. We get 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. And we get that extra snare drum note at the end there popping through. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. With the open hi-hats as well, we get 1 and 2 and 3 and an open hi-hat there on the and of 3, and 4 closes with the snare drum, and 4 closes with the second snare drum. And you've got to get ready with the open hi-hat again, and 4 and a 1, and 4 and a 1. So slowly that bar, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1. The next bar is our basic drum beat, but he adds in some extra snare drum notes at the end, the and. And if you want to play the open hi-hat on the and of 4 still, then you've got to play it the and with your left hand only, because you've got to strike the hi-hat with your right hand. And 1. So the rest of the drum beat's the same as we've talked about in the original version. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and but we've got this and 1, and 1 going into the next bar, and 1. And then the third bar is the same as our first bar, except we don't get an extra snare drum note right at the end of the bar, because we then go into a flam on beat 1 of the very last bar. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. And you could play it with the bass drum there on beat 1 if you wanted to, but I don't think he does on the recording. So those 4 bars together, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1, a 2 and 3 and 4 and a 1, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. You're unbelievable. So now let me just play for you those stabs up to speed on their own. Here we go. So, got any questions about any of that? Feel free to email me, rob@drumstheword.com. Don't forget to download the free PDF that came with this lesson. There's a link for that beneath this video. Go over to my Facebook page if you want to make song suggestions. That's the best place to do so. And you might want to consider signing up to become an online member at my website, drumstheword.com. And what I currently offer for $97 is a full year's online access to every single full video song lesson I've ever recorded and transcribed. That's over 400 famous and popular songs now on the website already, where unlike this video where I just teach you a main part, I teach you every single bar, every beat, fill and solo from start to finish. You get the fully transcribed PDF drum chart, and like I said, I've got over 400 famous and popular songs on the website already. As a thank you for signing up, I'll give you access to hundreds more videos teaching you many famous drum beats, fills and even drum solos. I'll give you 3 ebooks I've written over the years containing hundreds more famous drum beats, fills and solos. And then over the year of your subscription, you also gain instant online access to all the new material that I upload for my members. And I record new lessons every week unless I'm ill or on holiday. So you've got lots of cool stuff to look forward to over the year of your subscription. But if you've got any questions about any of that, feel free to email me, rob@drumstheword.com. And until our next drum lesson together, toodle pip, happy drumming to you, and Merry Christmas.